Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is Dan Berzowski. This is podcast number, I think, 412. Today, we're going to be talking about identifying negative self-talk. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
Today's the day I'm going to manifest the personal greatness that I know lies within me. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. How do you talk to yourself? I will tell you this, that most people beat themselves up, chew themselves out, and spit it out and realize they're not worthy or worthwhile. And the funny thing is, to me, just the ironic thing is this, is there's so much positivity and so much noise when it comes to motivation and inspiration out on the internet and on podcasts, just like this silly one that you're listening to right now. But I'll tell you this, it's really simple. If you could just talk better to yourself and get rid of the negative self-talk, you're going to solve a lot of your problems. You ain't perfect. You're definitely not perfect. And getting out of your comfort zone is nothing more than saying, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to do a little bit more. You know, most people, when you ask them about goals or when you ask me about goals, I'm always like, what are my goals? What do I want to accomplish? Sometimes goals are, what are you not going to do? That's not the point of the podcast, by the way, of today's podcast is what you're not going to do. Today's just about negative self-talk. Why are you doing it? What's the benefit of doing it? And do you really need to do it? Don't worry. Nobody cares enough about you right now to beat you up that bad. You're doing a much better job beating yourself up than anyone else is. And I'm saying that because I'm talking to a lot of young people these days, people younger than me in their 20s and 30s. And, you know, they're dealing with some stuff that's crazy. This podcast was designed for the person that's trying to going after it in life after they had a couple of falls, after they've dealt with some serious adversity, from the sports athlete that can't get his game back on, to the coach that's having a hard time with his team, to the parent that's having a hard time parenting his child, to the guy that just got done with a divorce and doesn't know what to do next. You're either going into adversity in the middle of it right now or just coming out of it. You're somewhere at that point in your life. And I just want to help you get through it, deal with it, and then move on from it. That's really what it comes down to. And if you're interested, go to the nocomfortzone.com. There's a blueprint there, there's a calendar there. You get on my calendar, and what I'll end up doing is I'll call you. I'll send you a copy of the blueprint that helps me solve problems in my life. It's helped other people as well, and I'll send you a copy of it. I'll walk you through the blueprint through a video that I've pre-recorded. I'll send it to you, and you know what? If you have any further questions, I can help you. It's about me helping you really get out of that comfort zone that you're in, of victimese, and moving you on to the next stage of your life, which is a sense of accomplishment, getting you from point A to point B, because I know you can do it. But that self-talk that you're dealing with right now, you know, whether you can or you can't, you're probably right. I think it's a Henry Ford quote. I've done multiple podcasts on that. But I want to ask you this, you know, what is it, if you just encourage yourself, and what if you said to yourself, you know, you are 8 or 10 feet tall and bulletproof? What if you talked to yourself that way? What type of mindset would you have when you're walking into your place of employment, when you're getting ready to go home, when you're transitioning from where you're at to where you need to be and the person you need to be? Listen, there's time for negative self-talk. You can reflect and you can go through, who did you screw over in the day? Who were you short with? Just the other day, my wife told me, it's like, you know what, when you get upset and then you come at someone, family or, you know, people that I work with, you know, I feel bad about it. Like I really do feel bad. I don't want to lose control and yell at somebody. I've done it before in the past. I don't do it as much, but I've done it before. And I've done it with my kids too. You know, I can get loud just like anybody. I can get really short tempered and I can become angry. And sometimes I react on that. And by reacting on that, what I'm actually doing is I'm losing control. And when I lose the control, I feel bad about how the other person might feel because I lost control because of something they did. Isn't that crazy? But my wife tells me, whatever you do, don't apologize for your actions. And I'm like, yeah, but it was inappropriate. It's not how I wanted to behave. So there's a thing I learned a long time ago in the program in AA. It's you got to clean up your side of the street. Whatever happened, happened. Whatever you're responsible for, take ownership of. And the other person's feelings or emotions don't matter anymore as long as you take ownership. I did something the other day about radical or extreme accountability. It's true. When you apply this in every aspect of your life, when it comes to your family, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your health and those things, it's kind of amazing what ends up happening. When you become that responsible for everything around you, less problems seem to show up. You just become more aware. You have less situations where you get angry. You're just dialed in. You're constantly aware of what's going on around you, which is the first step of the blueprint. Become aware of where you're at. Identify how you got there. Decide where you want to go, and then take action. That's the first part of the blueprint. And I believe you me, I could talk for about an hour just on that part alone on one topic. There's so much information in there that I used after the coma, after the addiction, after the bankruptcy, after all these things, after the suicide attempts. That's what got me in the coma. I don't talk about it too much, but on this podcast of transparency, negative self-talk, I got to a point where my life insurance policy for my ex-wife and my kids was far greater than anything I could ever provide for them. And I was a real piece of work. So since I was financially ruined and I was broken in every aspect, physically and mentally, I was probably 150 pounds. People thought I had cancer. That's how bad I looked. I was broke. I was living in a horrible apartment, a horrible place. Part of that time I was in my car, just a really bad time. So I thought to myself, with this life insurance policy that I was actually still paying on, when it got to the time when it was the suicide clause was over, I'll just cash it in. And I attempted to do that. I took a whole bunch of pills. And, I'll say this, through the grace of God and my mom, they knew something was wrong. The ambulance came to my mom's house because that's where the call came from. They quickly realized that I was in my apartment, and the ambulance, then a different ambulance, ended up showing up there. And yeah, they got there in a nick of time. But unfortunately, I did some damage to myself. I got myself into a pretty bad coma. I was down and out for about 7 days. And when I got out of the coma, I was stuck to a table, when they tie you down and all that stuff. And I woke up and I couldn't understand what they were saying. They couldn't understand what I was saying because I couldn't talk. My brain was all jacked up and I couldn't walk. So a bunch of brain scans and everything later, they didn't know what to make of it. They thought that was pretty much it. Soon my speech came, and before I left the hospital to go to the VA, because that's my insurance ran out, and I had nothing. So my mom figured out that I had VA benefits, and I went there and they treated me like royalty. They took care of me as a person. They got me on the road to recovery. Walking, talking, just feeling better about my situations. And believe it or not, it was really bad. And then on the road to recovery. So this blueprint really did help me out a lot in my life. But I realized this, those same things in the blueprint that I've created, and there's like 5 steps to it. Those same things that I've created to help me get out of the adversity and out from the dark and out from all that stuff I was buried underneath and all that low self-esteem and all that shit I went through. I realized that if I applied these principles in that adversity, I wonder what would happen to the goals that I was trying to hit before I became alcoholic, before I became bankrupt, before I lost my emotions and my everything. What would happen? Well, 60 days later, my life changed because that blueprint changed my life. I applied the principles of the blueprint. I drew in better people in my life. I dominated work goals. I completely crushed work goals. And I had people join me. I had people that were definitely interested in becoming part of the No Comfort Zone movement, all by accident, but now by design. The right people were showing up in my life to help me pursue these goals. And that's what this is all about. The blueprint tied to the Facebook community, which I encourage you to go to Team No Comfort Zone, look me up on Facebook, become my friend. It's a very private group, but it's all really about this. It's all about me and you working together so that you can get either out of the adversity you're currently in, or more importantly, it's about how you're going to crush your goals, whatever goals you might have. And some people are just fine in life going through life without goals, and that's okay. But really, when it comes down to it, if you want to pursue something or if you want to advance a little bit, I'm telling you that you can do it. From where I was at to where I wound up to where I'm at now, it's completely night and day. I'm unrecognizable to a lot of people that I grew up with. And there's a lot of people that saw me at the end when it was the end for me. And we've stayed in a little bit of contact since then, but I'm a completely different person in every aspect of my life because now I have confidence. Now I have conviction. Now I have certainty. And I do care a lot more for more people than I used to before. And what I mean by that is this. I was selfish the majority of the time. I mean, I'm going to cash out a life insurance policy so that my kids and wife can be better off because they're better off without me. How did that look to my kids when I did that? I believe that they've forgiven me for what I've put them through. But the truth of the matter is this. In order for me to become the person that I am today, I had to go through that. That's why I talk about adversity so much. So that goes to you too. What transformation in your life do you need to go through? Please don't do the extreme. You don't need to do what I did. What you need to do is go to the NoComfortZone.com and grab the blueprint and let's have a conversation. What you need to do is you need to connect to a community and realize that, you know what, you're not in this alone. You need to realize that you are worthy and you are worthwhile, and all those problems that are sitting on your plate right now, they're yours for a very good reason. And when you work through those problems together with some help, you're going to realize how amazing your life is, and you're going to realize how amazing you are. Because, and I'm going to wrap it up on this, once you really truly get out of that comfort zone that you're in, whatever you're dealing with right now, and you wake up and you just take that breath of fresh air, get that cold air in your lungs, when you jump in that really cold pool or that lake or whatever you do to wake yourself up, go for a run, go work out, go listen to super loud music like I love to do. Whenever you do that, you get out of that little comfort zone. When you wake up a little bit early instead of hitting the snooze, when you make your day about serving other people, when you get outside of your comfort zone, you actually find your purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.